hello. We got another impromptu late night session. I wanted to talk today about a topic that I don't even think we've had the opportunity to discuss in really any forum in the community, and certainly I haven't seen any discussions on it. And the topic I want to talk about this evening, and it is the stroke of midnight here, at least it was when I hit the live button. The topic I want to talk about this evening is working with both hands. What does good and evil mean? What does it mean to do good work and evil work? And what does that mean morally? What does that mean for your spirit? What does that mean? We hear a lot, especially in hoodoo and conjure circles, that we don't have anything like karma, so it's all good to just do whatever work, good work, bad work, work with as we say, the right hand, which is good work, or the left hand, which is seen as bad work. And I guess I want to start by looking into the concepts, man. Like, what does good and evil mean? For real, like, what does that mean? And what does it mean to do those things? We have a very moralistic understanding of these things. And it's not necessarily the original understanding that we had as humans, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and preach goodness for its own sake. Because when we unpack this a little and we understand what goodness means, we understand that it exists in a balance. This is what the Gnostics taught. This is what many of the spiritual teachers over the ages have taught, okay? And when you understand goodness and evil in terms of energy, okay, you understand how you do these works. And this is important. Listen, people want to say that, you know, if you're doing some sort of breakup work, that's not evil, that's good because you're helping someone. That's not how that works. And if you don't understand these things and you're not attuned to these energies, the work ain't going to work. So, talk a little bit. First of all, the word evil enters the English language like 500 years before the word good. Around the year 900, we have the word evil. Around the year 1400, we have the word good. So what does this mean for anything? What this means to me, and I love the ironic shadow over half my face as we have this discussion. What this means to me is that these concepts don't come to us together. These concepts are layered, and that there's history involved. And, you know, the people who ended up monopolizing these words, good and evil, had stakes in play. What do I mean by that? What I mean is the people who, the church, straight up, the church is what really pushed the words good and evil through the King James Bible, which was the first printed book, okay? The church sort of monopolized these words and handed them with their meanings and their attachments to them. So let's really look at what they mean, though. The word evil means shit you don't like, okay? Any shit you don't like is what evil means. The word good means shit you like, okay? So this idea, okay, that like money is evil or that anything of that sort could be evil is not literally true. The word good means what you like. The word evil means what you don't like, okay? And don't take my word for it. Go ahead on Google, look up etymology of good and etymology of evil. I know it's what you're going to find because I just did that before I went live, okay? That's what these words mean. So you have to understand that when you're working with a misconstrued definition, it tilts your whole perspective, okay? So to start with that, and understand that when you're doing something someone's not gonna like, by definition, you're doing evil work, left-handed work, okay? When you're doing something someone's gonna like, you're doing good work. That's what those words mean. So when you are doing the work, the energy you put into the work has to match that. What do I mean by that? First of all, things you don't like, this seems redundant to say, but things you don't like are things you don't like. If you like them, meaning if you like, you know, creepy creatures and gross smells, then they're not for your evil work because you like them, okay? It has to be things you hate, things you do not like, okay? Those are the energies you need to tap into. That feeling is what you need to tap into. By contrast with good work, if you happen to be burning an incense that kind of bothers you, that's not a good look for good work. because it has to be what you like, what you love, okay? That's the energy you put into your good work. This seems oversimplified, but so many people miss it because they're just following a recipe. And that's where your own spirit gets involved, right? Like, your spirit has its own shape. It has its own frequency, its own resonance. And you have to work with that. And especially when it comes to smell, for example, if something just like makes you feel a certain way, that's how it vibes with your spirit. And you got to work with that, okay? You have to attune to that in yourself. If a certain, and I mean, there's so many things, man, coriander is a great example. Some people love it, some people hate it. I, in fact, use it for work where I'm trying to divide, reveal fake people. You know what I mean? Like, really, like, that's how I am in my life. Like, you love me or you hate me, and that's how it is, and that's cool. I like that because I don't like subtlety. But so that's one of those things. Some people, or cilantro, same thing, same plant. You know, some people can't eat cilantro. Some people love it. So you got to pay attention to things like that, and you have to apply that in your work. And so, to go back to this working, what's up with evil spirits and evil, the idea of evil? Well, they're like these just terrible things, dude. Like, nobody likes them, okay? There's nothing awesome about them. There's nothing good about them. There can't be, okay? They follow sets of rules when you come to demons, but not all evil spirits are demons. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say not all demons are evil spirits. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. I'm not getting into it. But that idea of evil, there's nothing... You can't talk nicely to them, okay, because they don't respond to that. At the same time, when you're interacting with them, you can't get sucked into becoming evil, okay? You got to walk this fine line. Now, the nature of a true evil spirit, you think of that like as an elemental, like that evilness sort of distilled, okay? Interacting with it is really interesting because it hates goodness, okay? That's why you compel these things with holy names that we think of as entirely good, okay? That's why these are very powerful tools. That's why, in an exorcism, they hold up a cross, right? Because that's a sign of goodness, of self-sacrifice, the opposite of what nobody wants, okay? So that hurts them in the way that, or grosses them out, maybe is the word, in the way that gross things gross us out, evil, literally evil things gross us out, okay? So this is kind of how you have to understand the conjuration with an evil spirit, because when you're communicating with it, you got to be on its level. Then when you got to push it around, you have to do it with goodness, and you can't do it angrily, because then it's evil and it likes that. So it's this really fine line, okay? Good spirits, you can just approach with goodness because that's in nature with it. Working with an evil spirit, there's something like multiplying a negative number by a negative. You know what I mean? That sort of thing where when you go negative with a negative makes a positive. So the opposite of the opposite. Working with a good spirit, you're just going all positive. So in that realm, it's very easy. But understanding these energies and what that means, what you adore and what you completely despise, and what that brings up in you and how that feels in you and where that moves in your body and the direction it moves and the side it moves and the location of it. Understanding these, tuning into these, paying attention to these is key to doing this work, okay? And working with both hands that's what we do. And it doesn't, to go into the idea of moral good and the effects on your spirit are purely, energetic, right? Like if you hit your spirit with the shit it doesn't like, it gets weak too much. Okay? And it can flip. You give it enough negative, it'll become negative. If you hit it with the shit it likes, it grows, it thrives. It's just like a plant. There's nothing too much there. Morality, I'm a Taoist. I don't really go in for morality. I think morality was written by men mostly. And now we can go into law, right? Like, what is law? The word Torah, right? The Jewish scripture, that the Old Testament, is the law. Okay? Aleister Crowley, his Book of the Law. Okay? What is law? There's the law of man, which is really just rules. That's not laws. And then there's laws, like the law of gravity, right? Like that shit happens whether you like it or not. You could believe in it, you could not believe in it. You throw a ball, it's going to fall, okay? That's law. And Torah means law. Okay? So the word of God is the law. It's how shit works. It's not rules to follow. And you can look into scriptural theory and the JEPD analysis of the Old Testament, which kind of puts in where there was a priestly class that added human law to universal law to create that book. The human law they added was well-intentioned, I should say. Hopefully, right? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. It was meant to help people align with universal law. That's what most human laws are intended to be. But you got to reinterpret that shit for yourself, because it ain't the same time, so we ain't living the same way. On that note, I'm going to end this very brief convo on good and evil. I got to take care of some responsibilities. But I thank everyone for tuning in. This one is going to go posted, and of course it'll go on Patreon. And everyone have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. And tune in again soon.